Hello, my freedom-loving patriots. It's been a while since I've been live. I hope you all are having a blessed day. 5 days, baby, until Trump's back. I cannot wait to make America not just healthy again, make America secure again, but let's make America great again. The last couple of days, we've had Pete Hegseth and Bondi as of today doing their confirmation hearings, and it has gone exactly how it always goes. The Democrats try to play these gotcha questions. They bring up January 6th, or they bring up the election of 2020 about, oh, will you commit to say that Donald Trump lost and that Joe Biden is the president? It's a joke. We have been over this for years now, and they're still bringing it up on a daily basis. We, the people, voted for Trump, and we, the people, support Trump. The Democrats exposed who they were, and we aren't hearing it anymore. We do not care. And so we're going to start off with Pete Hegseth and the best moments of yesterday's hearing, and then we're going to start off after that with Bondi, and she demolishes them. My favorite clip of today's hearing so far has been her demolishing Adam Shifty Shift. But let's get it started, y'all. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Current administration. The Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength.
Yes.
And in pursuing these America First national security goals will remain patriotically apolitical and stridently constitutional. Unlike the current administration, politics should play no part in military matters. We are not Republicans. We are not Democrats. We are American warriors.
America first.
Our standards will be high.
Yes.
And they will be equal, not equitable. That's a very different word. We need to make sure every warrior is fully qualified on their assigned weapon system. Every pilot's fully qualified and current on the aircraft they are flying. And every general or flag officer is selected for leadership or promotion purely based on performance, readiness, and merit. Leaders at all levels will be held accountable, and warfighting and lethality and the readiness of the troops and their families will be our only focus. This has been my focus ever since I first put on the uniform as a young Army ROTC cadet at Princeton University in 2001. I joined the military because I love my country and felt an obligation to defend it. I served with incredible Americans in Guantanamo Bay, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and on the streets of Washington, D.C., many of which are with me here today. This includes enlisted soldiers I helped become American citizens, and Muslim allies I helped immigrate from Iraq and Afghanistan. Because when I took off the uniform, my mission never stopped. Now, it is true and has been acknowledged that I don't have a similar biography to defense secretaries of the last 30 years. But as President Trump also told me, we've repeatedly placed people atop the Pentagon with supposedly the right credentials.
That's it. Yes. And that's what I love about what Trump says. And that, again, Trump wasn't a politician. He was an outsider that came in and fixed the issues that the politicians failed to do for centuries or decades. Sorry, not centuries, decades. And that's why I want Pete Hegseth. And he actually is ex-military. He's not a politician. He's not one of these corrupt cronies. And we need outsiders. We don't need people who are already in these positions who they just move up, and they're all already bureaucrats that are unelected that we don't have a clue what their experience or background is. We need people like Pete Hegseth, patriots who actually fought and died for our freedom.
Whether they are retired generals, academics, or defense contractor executives. And where has it gotten us?
Nowhere.
He believes, and I humbly agree, that it's time to give someone with dust on his boots the helm. A change agent, someone with no vested interest in certain companies or specific programs or approved narratives. My only special interest is the warfighter.
They're not even paying attention to what he says.
Deterring wars, and if called upon, winning wars by ensuring our warriors never.
These the women Democrats that aren't even looking at him while he's speaking, you will see in all these hearings that Trump does with this cabinet picks, they will just degrade or take one-liners and repeat it with every other candidate. They won't care about the substance. They won't care that he might be the best person for the job because he actually cares about America and fought for our freedom. They just care about their one-liners, their gotcha moments. And people aren't falling for it anymore. The Democrats expose themselves every single time during these hearings. They don't let you talk. They talk over you. And then their last go-to line is, oh, can you concede the 2020 election? Or will you say that January 6th was an insurrection? We are sick of questioning like that.
Enter a fair fight. We let them win, and we bring them home. Like many of my generation, I've been there. I've led troops in combat. I've been on patrol for days. I've pulled the trigger down range, heard bullets whiz by, flex-cuffed insurgents, called in close air support, led medevacs, dodged IEDs, pulled out dead bodies, and knelt before a battlefield cross. This is not academic for me. This is my life.
Yes.
I led then, and I will lead now. Ask anyone who's ever worked for me or with me. I know what I don't know. My success as a leader, and I very much look forward to discussing my organization's successes at Vets for Freedom and Concerned Veterans for America. I'm incredibly proud of the work that we've done. But my success as a leader has always been setting a clear vision, hiring people smarter and more capable than me, empowering them to succeed, holding everyone accountable, and driving toward clear metrics. Build the plan, work the plan, and then work harder than everyone else around you.
Yes.
I've sworn an oath to the Constitution before, and if confirmed, I will proudly do it again. This time, for the most important deployment of my life. I pledge to be a faithful partner to this committee, taking input and respecting oversight. We share the same goals.
Now
A
with the
ready, lethal
Democrats.
military, the health and well-being of our troops, and a strong and secure America. Thank you for the time, and I look forward to your questions.
I love it. That's a great opening statement. He talks about how there's been unelected bureaucrats who have been put in these positions previously, how it's gotten us nowhere. We look weak right now on the world stage. We need outsiders to come in to stir up the system, because the system doesn't care about us.
Are you aware of these emails being sent to officers?
Senator, you mentioned the word accountability, which is something we have not had for the last 4 years.
Are you aware of these messages being sent to officers?
Certainly, I'm not aware of that. It's not one of my efforts, but there's been no accountability for the disaster of the withdrawal in Afghanistan. And that's precisely why we're here today.
Excuse me.
Is that leadership
He doesn't care.
has been unwilling to take accountability. It's the time to restore that to our most senior ranks.
You've written publicly that DI policy is a distraction and have military personnel.
See, they don't even care that 12 American service members got killed in the debacle in Afghanistan. Instead, they're just trying to get these gotcha moments. Instead, he brings up DEI, just hiring based off race. What does race or gender have to do who's most qualified for the job? You should want people who has the background, who has the capabilities of performing these duties, not just, oh, you're black, or, oh, you're a woman of color, so let's hire you for this position. We are sick of that, because that has gotten us to where we are today. Weak. We look weak on the world stage, and it gets us nowhere. So here's another Democrat. It's mostly just Democrat questions that I'm going to react to today, because I think Americans need to see what these people are saying and the questioning behind what they're saying and how ridiculous it is.
It is. Would you use our military to take over Greenland or an ally of
It's just
Denmark?
laughable.
Senator, one of the things that President Trump is so good at is never strategically tipping his hand. And so I would never in this public forum give one way or another direct what orders the president would give me in any context.
That sounds to me that you would contemplate carrying out
This
such an
woman's
order
such an
to
idiot.
basically invade Greenland.
So just because he's not willing to give up like our plans, why would you give the enemy on a world stage where everyone's watching the plans and what we're going to do? Like, that's just stupid. They expect just to give Trump's plan. And it's just laughable. The questioning that the Democrats do on a daily basis with these people in their confirmation hearings is just laughable. And then when they have a Democrat who they support, they will just kiss their butt, complete opposite, and just talk about Trump the whole time. Just Trump, Trump, Trump. We need better questioning. We need better representatives because this is a circus right now that we see.
The Department of Defense.
Oh, sorry. I already reviewed that opening statement. Let's go to the next one. So this is actually the one conservative. His name is Mark Wayne Mullen, an ex-UFC fighter. He actually talks about, you guys want to call out Pete for his past? Why are you guys showing up to work drunk? Cheating on your wives and spouses. Hypocrisy across the board as usual with the left.
The military industry, and yet your own secretary that you all voted for, Secretary of Austin, we had to vote on a waiver because he stepped off the board of Raytheon. But I guess that's okay because that's a Democrat Secretary of Defense. But we so quickly forget about that. And then Senator Kane, or I guess I better use the senator from Virginia, starts bringing up the fact that what if you showed up drunk to your job? How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night?
Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi.
Have any of you guys asked them to step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it because I know you have. And then how many senators do you know have got a divorce before cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down?
Of course
No.
not.
But it's for show. You guys make sure you make a big show and point out
Yep.
the hypocrisy because the man's made a mistake. And you want to sit there and say that he's not qualified? Give me a joke. I mean, it is so ridiculous that you guys hold yourself as this higher standard and you forget you got a big plank in your eye.
Yep.
We've all made mistakes. I've made mistakes. And Jennifer, thank you for loving him through that mistake. Because the only reason why I'm here.
What they're talking about, and they keep on bringing this up to try to hate on his character, is he cheated in the past with multiple women. Then he found God. People can adapt. They can change. They can change. There's nothing. People make mistakes through lives on a daily basis. Does that mean that's going to dictate who you are and what your future is going to hold? No. You learn from mistakes, and that's what the Democrats do. They use it against you, and they will just continue to use the same talking points and all these gotcha moments and instead of talking about substance. It's ridiculous. It's laughable.
And not in prison is because my wife loved me too. I have changed, but I'm not perfect. But I found somebody that thought I was perfect. And for whatever reason, you love Pete, and I don't know why. But just like our Lord and Savior forgave me, my wife's had to forgive me more than once too, and I'm sure you've had to forgive him too. And so thank you. So before I go down this rabbit hole again, tell me something about your wife that you love.
She's the smartest, most capable, loving, humble, honest person I've ever met.
That's beautiful.
In addition to being incredibly beautiful.
I love that. See? He made a mistake in the past that doesn't dictate who he is moving forward. Now we have another woke Democrat, Kirsten Gillibrand, who probably hasn't listened to anything he says, and she just pulls one little thing he said in the past or done and uses it to dictate what she thinks about him. It's ridiculous.
I appreciate your comments, and I would point out I have never disparaged women serving in the military. I respect every single female service member that has put on the uniform past and present.
Before we get into this, this is my thought about women in these military leader positions. Men and women have differences. Women have their strengths and weaknesses, and men have their strengths and weaknesses. But would you rather a 6'6", bulked up dude who could fight or a smaller woman lead the military? And I'm sorry, I'm going to take a man every day of the week. That does not mean women can't lead. But we want alphas. We want men, big men, to be able to perform in the military because that's life and death situations. You can't just gamble and say, oh, a woman of color, or she's a woman, so she should be leading this. No, we need alphas in those roles. You don't see in China or Russia or in these other countries them putting women on the front line and saying, yeah, DEI, equity and inclusion, come join the military. No, they don't do that. Why do you think under this administration we have record low people joining the military? Because they're woke. They've went soft. They've brought this transgenderism cult into the military as well, and it is disgusting. It is laughable. It's embarrassing. So yes, he will bring honor and manliness back to the military, which we need. We need people to fear the U.S. because We are a laughingstock right now around the world under this regime.
Critiques, Senator, recently and in the past, and from personal experience, have been instances where I've seen standards lowered, and you mentioned 11 Alpha, 11 Bravo,
Yep.
MOS, places in units, and the book that has been referenced multiple times here, The War on Warriors. I spent months talking to active duty service members, men and women, low ranks, high ranks, combat arms and not combat arms. And what each and every one of them told me, and which personal instances have shown me, is that in ways direct, indirect, overt, and subtle, standards have been changed inside infantry training units, ranger school, infantry battalions, to ensure that
Give me one
commanders meet
example. Please give me an example. I get you're making these
commanders
generalized
meet
statements.
quotas to have a certain number of female infantry officers or infantry enlisted, and that disparages those women who are
Commanders do
incredibly
not have to
capable
meet
of meeting
quotas
that
for the infantry.
standard.
Commanders do not have to have
Oh,
a
this
quota
woman's
for
so
women in the
cringe.
infantry. That does not exist. It does not exist.
Have
And
you
these
served in the
statements
military?
Are creating the impression that these exist, because they do not. There are not quotas. We want the most lethal force. But I'm telling you, having been here for 15 years, listening to testimony about men and women in combat and the type of operations that were successful in Afghanistan and in Iraq. women were
Successful in Afghanistan? What about Afghanistan was successful? The fact that you Democrats got, 13 service members died because you guys pulled out in such a joke of a way, instead of pulling out the people first before you pull out the military. That's just common sense. For a mess up like that, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
For many of those units, when Ranger units went in to find where the terrorists hiding in Afghanistan or in Iraq, if they had a woman in the unit, they could go in, talk to the women in a village, say, where are the terrorists hiding? Where are the weapons hiding? And get crucial information.
What does
to
being a
make
woman have
sure
to do with
that
this?
We can win that battle.
Oh.
So you cannot denigrate women in general, and
You
your
didn't.
statements do that.
No,
You
they
want
don't.
women in the military, especially in combat. What a terrible statement.
No.
So please.
I'm sorry, but naturally men are stronger and faster, bigger, taller than women. It's just a fact. And women are more nurturing. Like, we all have our strengths and differences, and that's why we are amazing together as a unit. But I'm sorry, if you're on a war zone, you have to worry about a sniper or a terrorist at all times on all of your surroundings. I want an alpha man. I don't want a woman who is put in this role because she's black or a woman of color or just a woman in general. We want alpha men to lead the military. Hence why we have record low enrollment under this administration. I'm going to repeat myself.
Do not deny that you've made those statements. You have. We take the responsibility
joke.
of standards very seriously.
No,
and
you
we
don't.
will work with you. I'm equally distressed. You would not meet with me before this hearing. We could have covered all of this before you came here, so I could get to the 15 other questions that I want to get to. So women, you have denigrated. You have
No, it's
also
not true.
denigrated members of the LGBT.
There we go. I'm sorry. I wish I could have pulled up that full clip. She was about to bring up the LGBTQIA, the cult, the trans cult, which I think has zero to do with the military. What does the military have to do with the LGBTQASDAA cult? I don't get it. Enough of that. Okay, I am a huge fan of Pete Hegseth. He is a patriot. He's a military member who served for our freedom. Now we have Pam Bondi, Attorney General for Florida, patriot as well. This is her opening statement today.
Thank you, Chairman Grassley, Ranking Member Durbin, and members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. I've had the opportunity to meet with almost all of you, and I greatly appreciate that. I'm grateful to President Trump and to this committee for your consideration to be the 87th Attorney General of the United States.
Hear, hear.
I would not be here without my family. And if you can bear with me for just a moment, a lot of them have made a very long trip, and I wrote them all down so I don't forget anyone. My beautiful mother, who I wouldn't be here, a retired kindergarten teacher, would not be here without my mom. As of a week ago, it was 12 years since we lost my dad to leukemia. Feels like 12 days. My amazing husband, John, and his two incredible girls, Collins and Finley. Collins is a senior at University of Florida. And I think all of you on this committee will be very happy to know Finley is in cybersecurity. There's a third who is traveling abroad. I wish she could be here. My amazing father-in-law, David, my sister, Beth, my brother-in-law is home with my niece, my nephews, if you could just raise your hand, Evan, Jake, and soon-to-be niece Savannah, my brother, Brad, a brilliant lawyer, my sister-in-law, Tandy, and my nephews, Justin, who just got a 4.0 at UVA, Rex, great college tennis player, Brad, great tennis player. Is Rhea here? And my niece, my beautiful niece, Rhea, and the little guy is in school because he's 10. My friends, Leslie, Kathy, Dina, Tiffany, Kim, Paula, and so many of my former coworkers. And Ranking Member Durbin, if you want to get dirt on me, these women have known me since I was a child. Seriously, most of them. So thank you for indulging me.
Durbin, the guy on the right there, he is actually the one who prevented the Epstein files from being released. That dude on the right. And why does it always end up being a Democrat? Disgusting. And yeah, that's what they do. They try to go into your past or get these one-liners or try to get someone to speak bad about your character. And that's it. That's all the Democrats ever try to do. Where the Republicans actually comment and ask questions about your record and what you're going to do. That is the stark difference between the left and the right.
And that they've all made a very long trip to be here. And thank you for holding my hearing as well and not postponing it. I appreciate that. Thank you all. From the moment I interned at the state attorney's office in Tampa, Florida, all I wanted to do was be a prosecutor. The Supreme Court certified me, and I had 4 jury trials while still in law school. Lost most of them, but had 4 jury trials and never wanted to do anything else. I continued my career there, trying everything from DUIs, domestic violence cases, capital murder cases, the whole gamut. I became a lead trial attorney in courtroom every day, trying career criminals, was deputy chief of a division, and then ultimately was felony bureau chief, and eventually left to become Florida's 37th Attorney General for the state of Florida. Nothing has impacted my career more than my experience as a state prosecutor, because I got to know and still keep in touch with many victims and their families from when I was a prosecutor. Upon becoming Attorney General in 2011, I proudly served for 2 terms. I was term limited. I would probably still be there right now had I not been kicked out of office by term limits. I loved being Attorney General. I did my best to keep Florida safe, to continue to stand up for victims of crime, and to fight the opioid crisis and the drug crisis that was not only facing Florida, but this entire country. Out of the top 100, this is one of the things I'm the most proud of, oxycodone dispensers in the entire country, I believe it was 98 of them, 90 or 98 of them, lived in Florida. We fought for tough legislation. Kids were dropping dead every day. We fought for tough legislation, and after that legislation, none of those opioid dealers, doctors, practiced in Florida.
Good, as they shouldn't.
We fought to eliminate human trafficking by raising awareness and prevention.
I love that.
And talking to parents and talking to children. We also provided critical resources, including safe houses, that my state was lacking. On the civil side, we worked to protect consumers. We tackled everything, including off-label prescription marketing, which affects, as you know, many, many people who can't afford prescriptions as well. We partnered with states' attorneys general from both parties and federal agencies across administrations.
Love
we
it.
went after price gougers during hurricanes. If confirmed as the next Attorney General of the United States, my overriding objective will be to return the Department of Justice to its core mission of keeping Americans safe
Love that.
and vigorously prosecuting criminals. And that includes getting back to basics: gangs, drugs, terrorists, cartels, our border, and our foreign advocacy.
Yes, and I love that because right now the focus of our the Democrats who are in charge, unfortunately, for 5 more days, their focus is getting Trump supporters that were on January 6, 2020, and that's all they've been doing for years. They're also letting terrorists into our country, not prosecuting them while knowing where they're going. I mean, they're literally coming across our border. All you'd have to do is search their name and see, oh, terrorists, probably send them back, but they're letting them in under this administration. They're also going after parents at school board meetings who don't like their kids being taught transgenderism from the cult and BLM and DEI nonsense. We need to bring the focus back to criminals, not Americans who are law-abiding citizens. Look at Adam Schiff. Yuck.
That is what the American people expect, and that is what they deserve from the Department of Justice. If confirmed, I will do everything in my power, and it will be my great responsibility to make America safe again. Making America safe again also requires reducing recidivism. We have to fix the Bureau of Prisons, and I am looking on both sides of the aisle. The Bureau has suffered from years of mismanagement, lack of funding, and low morale. I was proud to support President Trump's First Step Act. I think more can be implemented and more can be done on that front. President Trump's leadership on criminal justice reform has demonstrated what is possible when a president is unafraid to do things that have been deemed to be too difficult.
Or
We
racist.
have to reach across the aisle and get solutions for all of these problems.
I agree.
Like the president, I believe we are on the cusp of a new golden age
Yes.
where the Department of Justice can and will do better if I am confirmed. Lastly, and most importantly, if confirmed, I will fight every day to restore confidence and integrity to the Department of Justice
That's what
and
we need.
each of its components. The partisanship, the weaponization will be gone. America will have one tier of justice for all.
Yep, and that's what the Democrats are scared
In
of.
all this work, I'll collaborate closely with this committee. I will work with all of you as I've committed to do when I met with almost all of you. And I will partner not only with the federal agencies, but with the state and local officials throughout our great country.
Love
I look
that.
forward to answering your questions today and working together for this country.
So that's her opening statement. I think that was pretty good. We need one-tier justice where it's even across the board. I'm not going to show as many highlights from today because it's still going on, but one that I think is worth watching, and I'm going to play the full clip, is Adam Schiff, you know, the guy who propagated the whole Russia nonsense, pretty much committed treason while using taxpayer funds to do it. Still is a representative. I think he should be locked up in a prison cell somewhere. But she completely destroys Adam Schiff, a man who disgraces any government door he darkens. Facts. This is a masterclass on dealing with pompous, slimy, show trail politician like Adam Schiff. Bravo, Pam Bondi. Let's get it started.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, as you know, the Supreme Court in Trump versus United States held the president has absolute immunity to commit.
Real quick, the fact that this dude can sit there with a smirk on his face thinking that he is entitled to tell anyone how to think or to do anything is just laughable. This guy is like the epitome, like the full definition of a corrupt Democrat bureaucrat right here. He is a slime ball, Adam Schiff.
Crimes in certain core areas of the president's responsibility. One of those core areas is the Justice Department. So in a breathtakingly dangerous and irresponsible decision, Justice Roberts and the majority held the president could commit crimes using the Department of Justice and be
No,
immune
they
from
said
prosecution.
That's not true. He didn't commit crimes.
Justice Sotomayor correctly said this new immunity lies about like a loaded weapon. So the fear and the concern we have is that the incoming president will use that loaded weapon, that immunity, to commit crimes through the Department of Justice. And for that reason, it is all the more important that we have an attorney general who has the independence, the strength, the intestinal fortitude to say no to the president when it is necessary. So my first set of questions has to do whether you have the independence to say no when you must say no. And you can say this is hypothetical, but it is not hypothetical. So let me start with one very specific non-hypothetical. The president has said Jack Smith should go to jail.
He should.
Will you investigate Jack Smith?
Senator, I haven't seen the file.
She should investigate Jack Smith. I mean, he's broken the law. He uses taxpayer funds with his bogus charges against Trump. Which one was this for? I believe it was for the election, supposedly, where he said peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. So, oh my God, don't say that. You led it into insurrection because you said peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. That's it. That's all Trump did. So because of that, he's getting all these felonies.
I haven't seen the investigation. I haven't looked at anything. It would be irresponsible of me to make a commitment regarding anything without, you're a long practicing attorney, without looking at a file.
So you would need a factual predicate to open an investigation of Jack Smith. Is that right?
Not a summary by you sitting here. Yes, sir.
And not a summary by the president either, right?
Absolutely.
So a summary by the president or his
scumbag.
desire to investigate Jack Smith would not be enough for you to open an investigation of Jack Smith. Is that right?
I will look at the facts
Ugh.
and evidence in any case. And
sitting here,
72%,
sitting here today,
Senator,
They won't let him talk.
72% of Americans
please, I only have
have
7 minutes.
lost faith in the Department of Justice.
Sitting here today,
See, it's people like Adam Schiff, which is the reason why they've lost faith in the Department of Justice, just lost faith in the Senate, and anything in the government that people have lost faith in. Hence why they gave Trump this election landslide, because everyone wants something new. The Democrat Party has become a small minority. I mean, the only states it seems like Kamala won were the states that didn't require voter ID. Do you think that's a coincidence? I don't think so. I think Trump won all 50 states if properly done, one-day voting with ID. I don't see that as a big deal.
here today, are you aware of any factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Sitting here today, yes or no?
Senator, I will look at the facts and the circumstances.
You
of
can't answer that
anything that's
question.
brought to me.
You're not a part of the department yet. There's no worry about divulging
I'm sitting
law
here as a
enforcement
nominee.
sensitive information. So just tell us,
I'm
are you
sitting here as a
aware, just
nominee.
tell us, are you aware of a factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Yes or no?
Senator, what I'm hearing on the news
Are
is
you aware of
horrible.
a?
Do I know if
you-
he
you seem
committed a crime?
reluctant-
I have not
You
looked
seem
at it.
reluctant to answer a simple question. Let me ask you a different simple question. The president also wants to jail Liz Cheney. Sitting here today,
Liz Cheney destroyed evidence, also worked with jurors to convince them to give her the charges to Trump that he wasn't even supposed to get charged for. She committed felonies. She destroyed evidence. That is against the law. You cannot work with people as well like that.
are you aware of any factual basis to investigate Liz Cheney? Yes or no?
Senator, that's a hypothetical, and I'm not going to answer that.
No,
question.
it's not
for her.
hypothetical. I'm asking you, sitting here today, whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, no one
Based
has
on what
asked
you
me
know.
to investigate Liz Cheney. That is a
The
hypothetical.
president has called for it publicly. You are aware of that, aren't you?
They're literally just going off comments that Trump has said and saying, are you going to do this? Trump hasn't asked her to do anything in regards to this. So why do you keep asking the same questions? Because Democrats have nothing. Their policies suck. No one likes them. And so they use these one-liner gotcha questions, which just ends up making them look stupid and like they don't care about Americans. They're not trying to get any actual questions that is going to make Americans trust you more. They're not going to ask any questions like that. They just do the gotcha moments. And I mean, he is the one that used millions of taxpayer funds saying that the only reason Trump was elected in 2020 was because Putin and him conspired for the election, and that's why Trump won. So this guy is a joke. He's committed treason on his own people while using our taxes to fund it. So he is in no position to grill anyone.
No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president
Liz.
has
We're
called-
also
the
worried about
president-
Liz Cheney,
the
Senator.
president has
You know what
called
we
for
should
this-
be worried about?
Ms. Bondi,
The
please
crime rate
answer
in
my
California
questions.
right
Bam.
now
You
is
are
through
aware-
the
Bam.
roof.
Ms. Bondi,
Yep.
Your
my-
robberies
Ms.
are
Bondi,
87%
my
higher
question-
than the
my
national
question
average.
is this.
Yeah.
That's what
It's all
I
about
want you
Trump.
focused on, Senator.
Do you have the
If I'm
power to
confirmed
say
as
no to the
Attorney
president?
General.
And what you're suggesting,
It's all about Trump in the end of the day. That's all he's going to bring up. Oh, Trump said this. What are you going to do about it? That is all he's going to do. This dude's such a slime ball.
today by your non-answer is you don't have the independence to say no to the president. So let me ask you a different
Never said
question. It
that.
also requires you, if you're going to be a good attorney general, to be able to tell hard truths to the president. So my questions now are, can you tell hard truths to the president? So let me start with an easy truth that you could speak to the president. Can you tell him that Donald Trump lost the
Here we go.
2020 election? Can you say
Didn't I say this at the beginning of the video? All these Senate hearings, they're just going to use one comment, like a comment out of a 2-hour speech that Trump said, and use it as gotcha moments. They're going to say, can you concede that he lost the election in January 6th? That's it. This has been going on for 5 years now, folks. This is why the Democrats are not trusted.
that? Do you have the independence to say that? Do you have the gravitas, the stature, the intestinal fortitude to say, Donald Trump, you lost the 2020 election? Can you tell us that here today?
Senator, what I can tell you is I will never play politics. You're trying to engage me in a gotcha. I
No,
won't
I'm just
do it.
asking you a simple
I
question.
won't play
If you can
politics
speak truth
with any
to
ongoing
power. So let me ask you
investigation,
another.
like you did
let me-
leaking your
let me ask
colleague
you-
Devin Nunes's memo.
If you
Yes!
can't answer the question,
Yes!
let me ask you a different, what should be a simple truth,
Which
not
is
a hard one.
illegal.
Was there massive fraud affecting the result of the 2020 election? Yes or no?
Yes.
Senator,
Yes.
I'm glad you asked that question. If you'll let me answer what I saw in Pennsylvania.
No, I asked a simple question
Don't
about
even let her answer the
massive
question.
fraud.
I can only tell you what I
Massive-
saw.
no,
in
no.
He says, was there massive fraud in 2020 election? She goes in to say, yes, I will tell you what I saw in Pennsylvania. Nope, not going to let you answer that. You just asked her a question about fraud, and she's literally about to answer it, and you won't even let her answer it. This is what I'm talking about, folks. This dude's a jackass.
No, I know you want to
Pennsylvania.
answer a different question, but my question is, can you tell us whether there was massive fraud affecting the results of the 2020 election? Yes or no? Was there
I
or
can
was there
tell
not?
you what I saw when I went
That's
as an
not my,
advocate
that's
to
not
the
my question.
campaign.
So you can't answer that question. You can't speak
Don't
that
let her.
even easy truth to us, let alone to the president. So let me ask you a different question. It will also be important that you give good advice to the president. Are you prepared to advise the president not to pardon people who beat police officers?
That didn't happen.
Senator, as I said, the pardons are at the direction of the president. We will look and we will advise. I will look at every case on a
Okay,
case.
so you'll
Let me
look at-
finish on a case-by-case
Okay,
basis.
okay, good.
And I abhor violence to police officers.
follow up with that.
Yet they say nothing about the BLM riots where they burned down churches, attacked cops for months on end, burned down Black-owned businesses as well. What about the Antifa riots, the Palestine riots, these trans cult where they're like grooming kids in the open or having these fetish pulls in the open? Democrats say nothing about that. But let's talk about January 6th still, 5 years later on a daily basis. This is such a joke of a committee hearing.
So will it be your advice to the president, Mr. President? I know you said you want to issue hundreds of pardons on day one.
Yep.
Will it be your advice to the president? No, Mr. President, I need to go over them on a case-by-case basis.
That's what
Do not issue blanket pardons. Will that be your advice to the president?
Trump never said he was going to
Senator,
do that.
I have not looked at any of those files. If confirmed, I will look at the files
And
for
will
the
you be able to
pardons, as
do,
well
will
as
you
the
be able to
ongoing
review hundreds of
investigation.
cases on day one?
I will look at every file I am
Of course
asked
you
to
won't.
look
So
at.
will you advise the
Heck,
president?
can I
will
answer
you-
the question?
Well, my question
I
is,
would have plenty of staff. You said, of course you want.
you'll be able to review
Listen, I'm
hundreds
not
of
going to
cases on the first day?
mislead this body.
Yeah, and exactly my point. BLM and Antifa even joined together to riot and burn the city. Yeah, and you hear nothing about it. Instead, they just focus on January 6th on a daily basis, 5 years straight. The people don't care about this anymore, like at all. We know the feds were involved. We know the Democrats were involved. Nancy Pelosi and Muriel Bowser declined services that Trump and Kash Patel put out for National Guard, could have had many of troops there patrolling it, but it was all on purpose, and we know why.
Body, nor you.
All right, let me ask another question. You don't want to answer that. Let me answer
You were
another question.
censured by
It will
Congress,
also-
Senator, for
it will
comments just
also-
like this that
it
are
will
so reckless.
also-
Yep.
It will also be important for you to be able to preserve the records, the evidence of the department. Are you ready to commit
He's such a
that none
scumbag.
of the evidence in the January 6th investigation will be destroyed under your watch?
Senator, I will follow the law. I will consult with ethical officials in the
Do you
department.
see any ethical basis to destroy evidence in the January 6th investigation?
That's what Liz Cheney literally did, and you're defending her. He's so cringe.
Then why can't you answer the question? Why can't you say, I commit to this committee, we will never destroy the evidence in the January 6th investigation? Why can't you
Democrats
give this committee and the American people that assurance?
Are you frightened because evidence was destroyed against President Trump that was false? Is that why you're
Why do
frightened
you have
now? I can't
difficulty?
believe this is even,
Why do you have difficulty answering that question?
I can't believe
Why do you
you're
have
asking such a
difficulty?
question.
Why do you have difficulty promising to preserve evidence at the Department of Justice? Why is that a difficult question?
I will follow the law.
Which is what Democrats never do, which is follow the law or the facts. They just Trump derangement 24/7, and that's it. So let's see that. I wanted to take that whole clip because I thought that was very funny in a way. I feel like she destroyed Adam Schiff, the guy who proposed the whole Russia hoax with Hillary Clinton, yet provided zero facts or proof showing that Trump indeed was elected because of Putin. No, the people voted for Trump. It's really that simple.
That you as Attorney General
here's
should
this crackhead.
investigate one of his perceived political enemies. Would you do so?
Senator.
Yeah, and I hope he charges them all for treason, because back in the day, we didn't take this type of stuff lightly, where you can just lie and use taxpayer funds to commit treason to dictate elections.
Rono, I wish you had met with me. Had you met with me, we could have discussed many things and gotten to know.
I am
You could
listening
have
to you
gotten to know
now.
me.
Could you respond to the question?
Yeah, you were the only one who refused to meet with me, Senator. But what we would have discussed is that it is the job of the Attorney General to
I'm very
follow
happy to
the
listen to
law.
your responses under oath, Ms. Bondi. So I think it's really important to
And the
us
woman
that the
talking
Attorney
is
General
just as
be
dumb as
independent
Adam Schiff is.
of the White House. And you have a president-elect who considers the AG's office his law firm.
See these Democrats as well. You could tell they're always looking down. She's literally given a talking point sheet. Because, I mean, she's not a bright person, Miss Hirano. If you ever see her previous statements or like the committee hearing, she's very dumb, like very dumb. And it's not a coincidence. It's always the Democrats doing this. I mean, it's usually the same talking points. They use one word or one sentence out of a long speech that Trump says and just, bam, cuts it out of context.
I would like to know whether if the president suggests, hints, asks, that you as Attorney General should investigate one of his perceived enemies?
Oh, like the Democrats do?
I certainly have not heard the president say that. But what I will tell you is 2/3 of Americans have lost faith in the Department of Justice.
I'd say it's more than
And
that.
it's statements like that, I believe,
Ms.
that make
Bondi,
people continue to lose faith. If I am confirmed as Attorney General, it will be my job
getting
to
on
not
to my
only
next
keep
question,
Americans
you're not
safe,
responding.
but
She is
but
responding.
restore integrity to that
Why
department.
don't we
And that's
move
what
on
I
to
plan
something
on
that
doing
you said?
every single day as Attorney General.
On August 25th.
See, they literally put down these dates with these one-liners of previous statements they make, and it's amazing people vote for these clowns on the left.
Your
There's
job
that
will
one.
be, I'm speaking, your job will be to protect voters and election workers, not to undermine and dox them. Now, I know that earlier you agreed that Joe Biden is in fact president, but many of the president-elect's inner circle continue to spread the big lie about the
Oh,
2020
here we go.
election. Then we'll move on to a different topic. 'cause I know
Senator,
that's one
you were
that you're obviously
speaking.
not
May I
comfortable
may
with.
I speak? You
When
cut me
I ask
off
you the
when I
next
was
question, you
speaking.
can speak, and I hope you answer, Ms. Bondi.
Well, I'd
Now,
like
when
to
we met
answer the
yesterday,
previous one, Senator.
when we met yesterday,
You pointed your finger at me and
you
said
did not
you were
seem to be
speaking.
familiar
Let me answer
with
my
the
question. I'm not going to be
Citizenship
bullied by you,
Clause, the
Senator
14th
Padilla.
Amendment of the United States of America, which was deeply disappointing.
Oh,
I guess you
And I'm
didn't want to
hoping you're
hear
more
my
familiar
answer
with it
about
today
Pennsylvania.
after I gave an opportunity to.
so this is the third person now where she's trying to get out the fraud that she saw in Pennsylvania take place. And every single time so far, as you see with Adam Schiff, the jackass that I was reacting to, the woman before, And now this guy, they will not let her answer the question. I've made videos about all the fraud that took place in the 2020 election. They just don't want to hear it because they know no one trusts the Democrats anymore. So they just talk over you with these little one-liner questions that they try to ask you.
Study overnight. So can you tell me and this committee what the citizenship clause of the 14th Amendment says?
Senator, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm not here to do your homework and study for you. If I am confirmed
No,
as
you're the
Attorney
one
General.
asking for a confirmation
Hey,
vote,
you
ma'am.
cut me off. Can I please finish?
What does the 14th Amendment say?
Senator, the 14th Amendment, we all know, addresses birthright citizenship. I've been a state prosecutor. I've been a state AG. I look forward to, even given your remarks today, working with you and the people of California if I am confirmed as the 87th Attorney General of the United States of America. I didn't take your homework assignment. I'm sorry. I was preparing for
Okay.
today.
Bam! Got him. She's good. I really like her. And I agree. I hope Trump shuts down the whole Democrat Party. I mean, we have enough right now for treason charges for like the whole Democrat Party. Just the fact that they certified the 2020 election, in my opinion, is treason. Even with the rhinos on the right as well, treason. Their behavior is so unbelievable. Yeah, and I mean, it's expected at this point, but they have no morals at all because they sold their soul. I am going to do another live later. I just wanted to do the best moments that I've seen from today and Pete Hegseth confirmation yesterday. I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace. 5 more days till Trump's back. I know you guys are as excited as I am. Have a blessed